So, Microsoft just dropped something that could seriously shake up the enterprise software world. It's called Fabric IQ. Today, we're going to break this down from a strategic investor's perspective because we need to answer two huge questions. What's the real market opportunity here? And is Microsoft actually in a position to win it? You know, this quote, it's not just some slick marketing line. It's the entire investment thesis in a nutshell. The real battleground for value isn't about who has the biggest pile of data anymore. It's about how fast you can make smart decisions. It's about turning all that data into intelligent, automated action. And that right there, that is the multi-billion-dollar problem that Fabric IQ is built to solve.
All right, so let's dive into our first section, the new competitive frontier. To really get a handle on the size of this opportunity, you first have to understand the massive problem that pretty much every big company is facing right now, and that's a huge intelligence gap.
And this slide, man, it just nails the core problem. On the left, you've got your data systems. They think in terms of tables and schemas and silos. But on the right, you've got the actual business, let's say an airline, which thinks in planes, passengers, and routes. These two worlds are speaking completely different languages. And that disconnect, it's a massive roadblock to being agile and, frankly, to using AI in a way you can actually trust.
So that's the big question, right? How do you build a bridge between these two worlds? Because the company that figures out how to create a common language that both people and AI can understand, well, they're going to unlock an insane amount of value. This is the exact market that Microsoft is going after. Okay, so that brings us to our second section, building on a proven foundation. And from an investor's point of view, this is absolutely crucial. Fabric IQ isn't some risky, out-of-the-blue experiment. Nope. It's the final piece of a very deliberate multi-year strategy. You can see the whole strategy laid out right here on this timeline. It all started with Power BI, which got companies comfortable creating what are called semantic models, basically business-friendly maps of their data. Then came Microsoft Fabric, which brought the entire data mess together on one single platform. And now Fabric IQ comes in over the top to deliver unified intelligence. See, each step was designed to build on the last, creating a really powerful competitive advantage.
And this number, this is where it gets really interesting for an investor. There are already over 20 million Power BI semantic models out there in the wild. Every single one of them is a potential on-ramp for Fabric IQ. This isn't a cold start. It's an upgrade path for a massive captive audience. That creates a powerful flywheel for adoption and seriously de-risks the whole commercial side of things.
Which leads us to part 3, the intelligence layer. Okay, we've talked about the problem, we've talked about the strategy, so what is Fabric IQ really? To put it simply, Fabric IQ is the new intelligence layer for a company. It's what turns Fabric from just a big box that holds your data into a platform that actually understands your business. The key phrase to grab onto here is a live, structured model of how your business operates. It's designed to be a force multiplier, making every single data investment a company has already made that much more valuable.
Now, at the very heart of Fabric IQ is this thing called an ontology. The best way to think about it is, it's the semantic brain of the entire company. It's a formal, digital model of the business that both people and AI can finally understand. It maps out all the key concepts, how they relate to each other, and the rules that make the business run. This is the missing piece for building truly smart systems, real business context.
So let's make that brain idea a little more concrete. The ontology defines the key things in the business, the entity types, like a plane or a flight. It maps out the relationships, like how a passenger is booked on a specific flight. It tracks the real-time properties, like fuel levels. And it defines the available actions, like what it takes to reroute an aircraft. This is literally how that shared business language gets built.
And look, this isn't just theory. This quote from Emacs Power is some serious proof. They're actually using an ontology to connect all the data from their power grid, and it's letting them do advanced forecasting and make decisions they can actually explain. It shows real-world value in a super complex business. This is where we get to the real payoff in Section 4, from insight to autonomous action. Because, you know, understanding the business is great, but the real return on investment comes when you can turn that understanding into automated, intelligent action.
And this is where the operations agent steps onto the stage. Think of it like an autonomous AI worker that uses that semantic brain, the ontology, to actively manage parts of the business. It watches what's happening in real time, thinks about what it sees, and then automatically takes action to hit its goals. This is the big leap from just looking at reports to having proactive, autonomous operations.
So how does it work?
Well, it's all about this continuous loop that just keeps getting smarter. First, it monitors live data streams. Second, it reasons about what's changing, using all that rich context from the ontology. Third, it acts, triggering things in other systems. And finally, and this is key, it learns from the result so it gets better and better over time. This isn't just basic automation. It's smart AI that's grounded in your business reality.
Now, if you're an investor looking at any AI platform, one of your biggest questions is probably going to be about trust, right? About governance. This quote from Kindrill hits that nail on the head. The ontology acts like the guardrails. It makes sure that the AI agents are making decisions that are, as he says, grounded in business understanding. That is absolutely essential if you want big companies to adopt this stuff at scale.
Okay, let's bring this all home in our final section, the new plane of advantage. What does all this tech ultimately mean for how companies compete?
This is really the end game we're talking about. Your operations start to continuously optimize themselves. Your decisions go from looking in the rearview mirror to being real-time and predictive. But the most important shift is that last one. Durable competitive advantage isn't going to come from having the most data anymore. It's going to come from being the best at combining that data with intelligence to drive action.
So, let's wrap this all up into a clear investment thesis. Microsoft is in an incredibly strong position to win this market, and it comes down to 4 things. First, the foundation. It's built on platforms that millions already use. Second, adoption. No-code tools mean business experts can actually use it, which speeds things up. Third, the commercials. It's baked right into Fabric, so there's no friction to get started. And finally, the ecosystem. It connects across the entire Microsoft cloud, providing context you just can't get anywhere else.
We'll leave you with this final thought. For years, the big mantra was collect more data. That era is pretty much over. The defining question for the next decade of business is this: will the next market leaders be the companies with the biggest data lakes, or will they be the ones with the most intelligent operations? With Fabric IQ, it's pretty clear which side Microsoft is betting on. Thanks for tuning in.